gentle sweet scent fills the air. In the middle of the stage there is a long wooden table. A young man sits at its head, warming his hands on a mug of tea, waiting for the seats around him to fill with spectators. There is an empty mug for every one of them too. The cups of different sizes, shapes and colors make a charming still life. There are a few boxes of fruit tea in the middle of the table. That's where the subtle aroma comes from. The space fills with the murmur of voices, shuffling of chairs, and slight trembling of anticipation. Every now and then someone looks at the performer who is sipping tea, occasionally beckoning someone to an empty chair. Then he suddenly invites the audience to help themselves to a cup of tea. Yeah, let's have some tea. I watch as hazy red spirals spread from the small tea bag into the hot water. Did it ever occur to you that such a tiny thing could play the main role in a theatre show? With just a little playfulness and imagination, a tea bag can turn into our character Larry, the main hero of a performance called Larry's Story by Swiss artist Moritz Praxmarer. Using only a box of fruit tea and a mug, he told the incredible story of Larry Walters, an American who had one big dream.
Larry always wanted to be a helicopter pilot in the US Air Force. And he signed up for the army, but they never let him fly. But then, beginning of the 1980s, Long Beach, California, Larry is 33 years old and he decides to take the matter in his own hands. He names his aircraft Inspiration One.
How did he come up with the idea to play out this absurd but also melancholically tragic story using only a few tea bags?
I had a long list of things that I wanted to do or that I thought I could do to tell this story. Like also really big things, and then at some point I just had to start rehearsing, and it was a Tuesday afternoon and I was really tired and I just had to start somewhere, and the easiest thing to do was to get a pack of tea bags and work with it. And at some point I figured, oh, maybe I could just stay with that. Strangely, if you let things cook a bit in a process, and when you start like really working with material, then suddenly it starts to talk to you. Like suddenly it does things that you didn't anticipate, that you didn't thought out, and suddenly like stuff happened with the tea bags where I was like, oh, well, that actually tells even more than I thought it could. And then this, like, you know, this moment when you had like a long night of drinking and then you end up in the kitchen of somebody and you have like this last cup of tea at the kitchen table and everybody's a bit like and a blackout, and then you have like a little tea to go to sleep to like do at least something healthy that night, and then like somebody just like pulls out that weird story that you heard of, and like this Larry story, I felt like it could be one of these stories, and then when the tea bags came, like suddenly things start to connect and make sense.
Apart from the tea bags, the proximity of the audience seated around the table is essential. Their reaction, their willingness to play along, fully immerse themselves in the story and share Larry's highs and lows, makes the performance really come together.
I see many people when they're close. I see them, and I really like to like play with them, like to see a reaction and then react to that. So if there's less reaction, I have a bit harder time. But yeah, I mean, I've learned just continue doing it because I don't know what the person is thinking. The problem then was that the wind blew me in the approaching lane of Long Beach Airport. Hello, Long Beach Airport. Thank God.
Inspiration 1 to Long Beach Airport Tower. Please copy. Inspiration. Look, here is Larry Walters, okay? I'm in your approaching lane. No, sir, no emergency landing. I have complete control over my aircraft.
I went to see the show twice. Both times I was reminded why I love theatre so much. It's because how simple yet magical it can be. Sometimes all you need is an ordinary object you probably have at home, and then your imagination. The astonished gasps, the sincere laugh, or the stunned silence of the audience made me realize once again how captivating can the shared theatre experience be. I guess you figured out by now that I really enjoyed the show. But to not make it all about me, here is how Anne and Malali, two friendly students from the US, viewed the show.
It was absolutely amazing. I loved every second of it. It was really cool and interesting to see how he just created a story with just tea bags. It's something so simple, something that people use every day, just create this whole story just from 2 tea bags.
But it's also the comedic timing and the emotion and just like being comfortable in the silence is amazing. And using the entire space was great. And I love the audience interaction and being able to sip tea as well. And you really fall for this character very quickly.
It was also really cool, like how he involved the audience, because like you just come in and there's a table and he's like, have some tea. And then with that, you just become immersed in the story.
It was absolutely amazing. And I will definitely be trying to do some stuff with tea bags.
The Story of Larry is a show that makes you laugh and moves you all the same. You'd never guess a delicate piece of paper and a little bit of dry tea leaves could do that. But theatre is full of surprises and full of big dreams, just as the one Larry Walters had. What's yours?